guys, Marmalade here for Q A number 28. I hope everyone's doing well. We have some pretty good questions this time, so let's get right to it. Alright, so our first question is from Paul Howcroft. Paul, I apologize, he asked me this a while ago and I'm just getting to it, but I do write all of them down. But he had asked me, what would you recommend international hikers do for money on the trail? Small amounts of cash and a card, and if a card, will most places on the trail take the cards, or would it be better to bring a prepaid card and will it get accepted? So for me it's hard because I live here, and even then it was a little iffy in some of these really small towns that don't take everything, so it's hard for me to answer when it comes to international cards. But I don't know if you call it a debit card, but you know, your normal bank card that you use a PIN and you can get cash out. I'll tell you what I did and what I recommend. So I did a couple things. I basically saved the money for my hike, and I was using my debit card, so basically money directly out of my checking account. I had a backup American Express that was for emergencies, and I tried to pay for a hotel one time in Wrightwood, and they wouldn't, in this small motel slash hotel, it was actually cabins, didn't take American Express, so I ended up paying cash. But yeah, so some places take American Express. I would think you're safer with Visa at most places in the US. I did a couple other things. So the American Express was like a backup thing. I did carry cash. I also went to the grocery store, and for internationals, you can come here and go to the grocery store and do this. I just went and bought a prepaid card, and I put I think about $200 or $300 on it. So the cash card is great in case you only have, like I did, only had American Express as a credit card and they didn't take it. The cash card is good as cash. You can reload it too as you go along the trail. So I'm assuming at any grocery store, most of them do it. So you can reload it with money. There's a very small fee for that. And what else? I did, of course, carry cash. One of the ways you can get cash on the trail and without getting charged exorbitant fees at like a bank on trail, because a lot of times you might get $100 out and they charge you $5 or $10, is what I did was when I would go to a grocery store to resupply, they give you an option you want cash back. So if you're using like a debit kind of card, you can, some grocery stores, like my local one here, gives up to $200 back, but you can get cash that way and there's no fee. So you just buy something, and when I ask you for cash back, say yes and then put in the amount. So I do that too. So yeah, but I really think, you know, just in case you get into a town and something weird happens and you want to do a zero and get a hotel room, and even if your cards are good but say the system's down, you're kind of screwed. So carrying cash is important. All right, our next question is from Washington Mike. He asked me, hikers sometimes talk about towns being a vortex. Have you experienced this phenomenon? Was it a challenge to get back on trail post-town? So it is true. It is true, and I think everybody's different. One of the big questions on a lot of the PCT like Facebook groups and everything is, how much money do you need to hike? Well, there's people that have almost no money and literally scrounge out of hiker boxes to people that spend 10, 15 grand. So, and get a hotel everywhere they go. So it really depends on your experience. But some people have a need to live it up when they're in town and party and eat, get a hotel and spend a ton of money. I can see where that creates the vortex feel. You do start, when you get your hiker hunger, you start dreaming of food. So when you get to town, that's what really draws you there. And of course a resupply and the first shower and maybe a good night's sleep in a hotel room and that kind of thing. But I think the vortex is a thing, and it depends on the town, it depends on the person. But for me personally, I really look forward to it. I usually needed a half a day, like a Nero or a zero. But zero, by the way, is when you take a whole day off, no miles. And Nero is when you do less than 10 miles. So say you hike in the morning 8 miles, get to town and spend the rest of the day there. It's a weird kind of, to answer your question, it's a mix of both, because you can't wait to get to town. You can't wait to eat regular food and rest. But then for the people who truly love the trail like I did, and most of the hikers out there, they can't wait to get back on trail and get out of the towns, because it's like a necessary evil. So I'm trying to process this question, but I never had a hard time getting out of town. I wanted to be on trail. When I was getting near the end of a 4 or 5 day stretch and I wanted to get to town, I looked forward to the town, but I never had a problem wanting to get out of town. I tried to be present and just enjoy it for what it was, and then get out and get back on trail. So my priority and what I love doing is being on trail. So the towns are, like I said, a necessary evil. So yeah, I think that answers your question. All right, our next question is from somebody who goes by RNA Taylor, and this happens to be in regards to my recent video I did on my new Altiplex tent by Z-Packs. Don't you get a lot more airflow through a duplex because of the 2 doors? So, yes, and that's one of the things I've said about tents. There is no right or wrong tent. I'm convinced you almost need like 3 different tents for different sections of the PCT, but there is no right or wrong. I have specific needs because of my height and my size and my tent. The duplex is wider than the tent I have now, my Altoplex, but my toes and head would be hitting it. I have to sleep diagonally. So, and it has 2 doors, which is a bonus. My old Tigerwall UL 2 has door on either side too for airflow. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a negative, but I had certain criteria that I had to have in order to fit comfortably in a tent, and the Altoplex meets it. Now I'm just trying it and using it, so we'll see if it's as good as I think it's going to be, and I hope. But you have a gigantic one-sided rainbow door on the Altoplex, and I'll show you a picture right here. Then on the base I showed in my gear review, there is venting around the bottom for airflow, so it helped reduce the condensation. But all Z-Pack tents have condensation, even ones that have great airflow. So in the right conditions, they're going to have condensation, so there's nothing you can do about it. So to answer your question, yes, of course, the duplex has more flow, but the tent, I could have bought it. I tried one of my buddies out, and it worked okay. There was nothing wrong with it, but I didn't fit right in it. So my criteria is my comfortability and the ability to sleep more than whether this has more flow than that. So I feel like it has adequate flow, but I'm still using it, so we'll find out. But thank you for the question. All right, here's another older question too from Sean Wilkinson. He had asked me, what about the food I'll be using in 2020? Any changes? Do I prefer a stove or going stoveless? So I definitely go stove. I probably will always go stove. I mean, I like to try out things, but I don't know. If you go stoveless, by the way, if you don't know, it's just cold soaking, so you get like a jar that's threaded, you can tighten it, and you can put like things like pasta or couscous in there, put water in there, put your meal in there, put it on there, put it in your pack, and you can hike for like a lot of my friends that do that, they'll put it in their pack and hydrate for 3 or 4 hours before they get to camp, so it's ready to go. And it's cold, and they save space and weight not carrying a titanium mug and a stove and all that. But no, I personally like the reward of having a warm meal, especially on cold nights, or on really cold nights, you know, having a hot cup of tea or coffee, things like that, really helps warm you up. So I personally feel like it's a reward. It's something to look forward to at the end of the day, so I will always go with the stove, to answer one question. And how am I going to change on food? So I have, because of my physical ailments that I've had lately and the pain I've had, I have been trying to really clean my diet up. It's not perfect, but it's probably 80% clean, which is better than what it was before. So I'm cleaning my diet up, and so part of that will be on the trail. It's hard because you can only buy so many healthy things in a town, but I'm going to try to take fruit and vegetables and things like that out with me, like an avocado or things like that, maybe a banana for the morning. Carry things out, try to eat it up fairly early on, and say you have a 3 or 4 day stretch, try to eat it early on so you don't carry the weight. But yeah, I'm going to try to take more fresh food out. How's it going to change? I am actually talked to my buddy Robert, but we're thinking about maybe going in and getting a dehydrator, and I might start making a lot of my meals that I want to have in my resupply boxes. It's partially to save money, but it's really because you can only eat so much ramen, and I got almost sick of the instant mashed potatoes and the rice sides I kind of like, but I mean, you have only so many choices when you're buying out of these little stores, and it seems to be, if it's affordable, it seems to be the same thing over and over again, so it just gets old. So I'm going to try to get a dehydrator. I'm going to try to find out what a good one is that's at a decent price. And you guys know that. Let me know what brand, what it costs, and where you got it, and why you like it. And I want to try some recipes and try to figure out what I want to make, you know, and it would be nice if I could make 5 different meals. So if I have a 5-day stretch, I could put 5 different meals in one stretch and then put those in each box. I don't have to eat the same thing over and over again. But so that's my main changes coming up. Besides that, you know, my snacks were down pretty good, and they vary. And breakfast, I eat granola. I like that in the mornings. And yeah, just that's about it for now. All right, our last question, of course, is from Terry Savini. How often did I keep in touch with my family? What was your most reliable form of communication? So pretty good question. Mine was, I don't have it with me right now, but my Garmin InReach Mini. So I'll show you a picture right here. And I am not very technically savvy. I've figured out how to edit videos, and that's about it. But you go in the computer before you go on your hike, and you can put people, loved ones and relatives like my son, and friends on my list, and then they're in my text list. So when you pick your program out for your inReach, it asks you how many texts you want. If you want unlimited, but of course the more text, the more features you have, the more it costs per month. Mine was in the middle, so I set up 3 preset ones ahead of time, and those are unlimited. But if I wanted to text somebody something original, I had like 12 a month of those. So, and then it's not expensive. If you had something serious you had to send out, I think a text is 50 cents. And I'm not sure if you know how the Garmin's work, but it's most of the time we don't have service out there, so it talks to a satellite. So it pretty much can respond to most places unless you have a major cover of trees or in a building. So yeah, I had 3 preset texts, but the main one I used every single day is what said, had a great day on trail, made it to camp fine, and something like that. So I sent that to my son every single night, and I think some of my buddies like Robert, some other people were on that too. I had a couple others, but I didn't really use those texts, those preset texts, but that's what I use mainly. What's good about GutHooks, the app, it'll tell you sometimes. People say, oh, on top of this campsite or on top of this mountain, there's a service for Verizon or AT&T. So there's times that you can just check your phone, and so there's times I would just stop, I'm taking a break, or stop somewhere I thought there might be service, and clear a line of sight and tried. So that was my other form of communication, and I didn't really text a ton, only just here and there, but you know, I tried to focus on being present, and you notice I use that word a lot, but I try to be present and enjoy my hike, and but try to be thoughtful and communicate to my son so he knows I'm okay. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Those were good questions. We're getting a little lower on questions, so I'd love some new questions, some things about it. It doesn't have to be about through hiking, it can be about gear or the mental side of hiking, physical, things like that. So yeah, it's getting excited here in Southern California because it is through hiking season. So yeah, we're starting to see hikers down there. They started March 1st, so about a week ago or so. Please subscribe if you haven't. Like, share, those kind of things. And you guys have heard me say before, but I'm going to put the links below, but I have a Patreon page if you'd like to check that out. Also a merch site for some merchandise with my logo on it. So feel free to check those out, and every dollar that I clear will go towards my hike. So that's kind of one way to help me out. And lastly, one of the things that's been helping me health-wise is CBD, and I actually have a direct communication with the owner of the company. It has amazing stuff, so if you have aches and pains or things you've been dealing with and you'd like to try something different, it's really helped me. I mean, I was in horrible shape, and I'm probably at about 80% right now, better. So I'm still taking it, still trying to get rid of the rest of it, but if you'd like to try it, let me know. I know a guy, and I'll just, we can direct message, and I'll give you his name and phone number. You can give him a call and see if you want to try it out. So, all right, that about does it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the questions. Thanks for tuning in, and until next week, we'll see you down the trail.